Tennessee Titans fans, I come to you today letting you know that it is time for a heart-to-heart among Tennessee Titans fans. Obviously, it's already been an eventful offseason. Mike Borgonzi's the new GM. Chad Brinker's in a new role with more power. We've got a number one draft pick. Who knows what we're going to do with that? Free agents, trades, all of that stuff is on the table. I need everybody to use a wait and see approach. I need everybody to calm down a little bit. I'm not trying to be a party pooper. I'm not saying you shouldn't be excited about Mike Borgonzi. I'm not saying you shouldn't be excited about having the number one pick in the draft. Of course, you should be excited about the prospect of that and what it could mean. But have we not done this before? You remember when we hired Rand Carthon and everybody just swore that we had hired the GM of the future? I mean, I was one of them. Like, I went ahead and crowned Rand Carthon as the king of Nashville before he made a single move. I crowned Brian Callahan. I mean, a year ago, I sat here and I raved about how great it was going to be with Brian Callahan because we have an offensive-minded guy. We have an offensive-minded head coach. And I'm not going to say my reasoning was wrong. My reasoning was pretty spot on, but my crowning him before he had done anything worthy of being crowned for proved to be a little hasty. Now, that is not me saying that we should not have fired Mike Vrabel. I still think that was the right move. But, I mean, even the players, Marcus Mariota, we crowned him as the king of Nashville based on a couple of good performances. We crowned Will Levis the king of Nashville just based on a couple of good performances with some encouraging signs here and there. I am begging everybody, this go round, it's okay to be optimistic. It's okay to be hopeful. I'm never going to fault it myself or anybody else for that. But we've got to be cautiously optimistic here. Of all people, I heard Paul Kaharski say this last week, and I couldn't agree more. Why don't we wait and make sure these people do what they need to do before we just come up with catchphrases about them? Let Rand cook and J-Rob we trust. At least J-Rob kind of earned his little catchphrase because he had a good first couple of seasons. But why don't we just hold off and make sure that Mike Borgonzi is going to do a good job? And I'm hopeful that he will. I think there's a lot of reason to be optimistic about it. But before we just declare that everything's fixed, why don't we wait to see if they'll actually fix it? You know, I remember Delaney Walker saying once upon a time about another team, you can crown them if you want to. Don't crown people before they're deserving of being crowned. Because we've done it before and it didn't work. There are a lot of teams in the NFL who have new head coaches coming in. Liam Cohen, new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Duval. Who else? Mike Vrabel, new coach of the Patriots. Aaron Glenn with the Jets. Ben Johnson with the Bears. And every one of those teams swears that they have the new best head coach. Pete Carroll with the Raiders. They all swear they have the coach that's going to turn it around. But you know as well as I do, that's going to prove to not be true for some of them. You may have a couple of good coaches, but a lot of these teams, they're going to turn around and be right back in the same position in a couple of years, where they're going to be looking for another new head coach. Every one of these teams that hire new GMs, just like the Titans did, they swear they've got the next best GM who's going to bring in all the best players and turn everything around. And, you know, there are three teams this offseason. Usually it's more the Titans, Jets, and Raiders. And I guess the Jags now looking for a new GM. But you know as well as I do, time will eventually tell that some of these guys are going to be fired because they're not going to do a good job. So for Tennessee Titans fans, I think it is important that we remain hopeful, optimistic, but use caution. Exercise caution in that optimism, because I'm seeing a lot of people who just swear that Mike Borgonzi is going to just fix everything and he's the guy. Let him prove it first. I'm hopeful that he will, but with the guy has only been here like a week. Let the guy prove that he can do something. Let Brian Callahan, he didn't prove anything, and we were already hailing him as the next great head coach. And then he had a rough first year. Let's wait and see if Brian Callahan turns it around, because he's going to have to if he's going to stick around. If he's going to be the head coach of this team at this time next year, he's going to have to do better. Let's just take it easy, man. Let's take it easy. Let's be hopeful. Let's be confident. Let's be optimistic. But let's make these people earn our trust instead of just giving it to them for no good reason. Let's earn these, and whoever we draft, whether it's Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward or Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter or whoever it is, let's see what they do first before we just crown them. Let's make sure that they do what they need to do before we just crown them, because isn't that what the whole hopes and dreams thing came from with Anthony Richardson? They crowned him as the next big thing based on nothing, based on hopes and dreams. Saw some of that with Caleb Williams. People were already declaring him a top 5 quarterback in the league before he even took a snap. The guy they should have been talking about was in Washington, but they were so transfixed on Caleb that they totally missed the mark on Daniels. So I think as Titans fans, we need to not lower our expectations. Don't get it twisted. We're not lowering our expectations. We should expect better than what we got this season. Absolutely. We should expect better than 3-14. We should expect better coaching. We should expect better front office business. We should expect better playing from the players on the team. We should expect better. But let's realize that these people, such as Mike Borgonzi, he hasn't even actually done anything yet. I'm hopeful that he will, but so far he hasn't. He's only been here a week. So we'll see. We'll see. But let's let these people prove that they are deserving of our trust before we just give it to them freely. Because we've been burned before. We've been burned by former GMs. We've been burned by former head coaches. We've been burned by former players that we got too high on too early. If this rebuild is going to happen the way it needs to happen, it's going to take a little bit of patience, and it's going to take a little bit of realistic expectations from the fans. We have got to not lower the expectations, but make them a little more realistic. Not every quarterback's going to come in and be Jaden Daniels. That's the exception and not the rule. Not every quarterback's going to come in and just take you to the championship game right off the bat. But how many instances have we seen? You give them time. You let them work through all of those early career issues. It can get better. So as fans, we need to just not lower the expectations, but just cautious optimism. Cautious optimism this offseason. Tighten up.